And for more on the controversy surrounding Bergdahl's release, we're joined by Elizabeth Beavers. She's a legislative associate for Militarism and Civil Liberties at the Friends Committee on National Legislation. Elizabeth, thanks for joining us. As we just heard in Jim's piece, Defense Secretary Hagel said that this exchange was imperfect, but it was in the United States' best interest. I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Sure. I think what we learned from the hearing today is that overall this was a good deal, right? So we got back the last American prisoner of war. This is someone's son. This is an American soldier. This is someone who's finally on his way home. And in exchange, we handed over 5 detainees who, according to the international laws of war, were going to have to be released at the end of hostilities anyway. These are people who were not among the 16 high-level detainees. They have never been charged with anything. And, you know, we got something out of this. We got our American home. So I think Secretary Hagel displayed that there were definitely difficult choices here, but that overall, it was a good outcome.
You know, the critics have been saying for the last several days that they feel that the search for Bergdahl led to some troop deaths. But Hagel just said that there has been no evidence that directly links any American combat deaths to him. Now, do you think that there's a possibility we can find out more critical information in the coming weeks, coming months, as some people say we have in other situations?
Sure. You know, one thing that I really appreciated from Chairman McKeon today was that he separated the question of what were the circumstances of Sergeant Bergdahl's separation from his post, what were the circumstances in finding him. These are all questions that we will be able to find answers to. We will be able to investigate a little bit more. But right now the priority is getting him home, getting him healthy. There's procedures for this sort of thing. There's due process that he's entitled to. He's entitled to give his side of the story, and these are questions that we can look into. But for now, just looking at the actual deal, as I said, this is something that was good news, and in fact, this is something we'd like to see a little bit more of this type of political will from President Obama for the 78 detainees who have been cleared from Guantanamo.
I'd like you to explain something for our international audience. What does it say that this exchange is still being discussed in the United States, that days and days after that this exchange happens, that it's still being discussed and still being debated?
Right. I think if nothing else, this situation has showed us that there's still this pervasive fear mentality when we talk about Guantanamo and we talk about the threat of terror and things like that. A lot of these criticisms have come about literally because there are 5 detainees who are aging, who have been in captivity for around 12 years, who primarily were government officials, were political officials, were not soldiers of some sort. And because they have been released from Guantanamo, transferred to a secure condition in Qatar, there's this fear as if we have to remain in this vigilant state that it's worthwhile to compromise our values to continue to keep people locked up in exchange for this false sense of security. And we don't believe that that's what keeps us secure. We don't think that compromising those values, this is not what makes us safe, and that we've got to put some trust in the rule of law, some trust in our procedures, and operate under that and not under the state of fear.
One and done. All right. Elizabeth Beavers, we appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me.